Hey, Battle Bill, here with another video, getting some more Season 12 Go Battle League battles. This is taking place in the Ultra Premier meta. In today's video, I have the budget, non-XL, triple non-XL team that you could run for success in some Ultra Premier battles that I was able to take because recently I've hit Legend above the Legend ELO into the 3100s and even higher all the way up to 3200 as I make my own personal leaderboard push. I highly recommend this team. I have a collection of battles of me popping off with it, and if you want to play Ultra Premier because you're bored of Open Ultra, since that's been the only meta that we've been around for the past week or so, I highly recommend this team. Not a single XL needed, very affordable, very financial. So as we jump into the battles, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as always, and let's see how to play this team. So as we get into this match right here, we are going to essentially let this move come through. It's going to be a weather ball. We're going to double cross shot. We're going to save both of our shields. We're hoping the opponent thinks this is a rock slide and that they're going to double shield up. With wall rain in the back with a 2 shield to no shield advantage against their back line, this match is essentially GG, especially because I'm pretty sure that it wasn't necessarily a positive lead for me. The other key to winning this matchup the way that I did was to play into CMP, knowing the counts, knowing when the Ninetales was going to throw charge moves at my Machamp so that I could force them to want to utilize their energy. We're going to throw, oh, we had a wall rain on Snorlax lead. That's what it was. So it wasn't like a terrible lead, but it wasn't a great lead either because, you know, Snorlax with superpower would do a ton of damage to wall rain. Okay, getting into the next match, we have a wall rain on a Swampert lead. This is a positive lead here. We're going to see if the opponent decides to swap. They do decide to swap. They swap into a fairy, which is quite concerning for this team comp. But as you'll notice, it's a quick attack Sylveon, so not the charm variant. And we're still going to stay in here with our wall rain. We're going to want to spam as many icicle spears as possible, especially because based on the lead that we had here, our back line should be able to hold up as long as I keep alignment. We spam another icicle spear. We ended up getting baited, which was unfortunate. We're going for another charge move. I played this one incorrectly. I should have known better that we were going to CMP again at the charge move, and with them throwing the Moonblast there, I could have essentially shielded, overfarmed a boatload more, and that would have helped me way more in this circumstance, considering we still have the Swampert that we need to deal with. Thankfully, Surfetch will still perform quite well against it as long as we can get one of the shields here with Walrein. But if we had even more energy, that would have been more ideal, because Walrein just would have been able to take out the Swampert practically single-handedly. This needs to be an Earthquake to take us out. It ends up being the Earthquake. We're going to want to come into... We want to come to Surfetch, right? Or do we... I forget what decision. Honestly, either fighter is fine here. We ended up actually coming in with the Machamp, and now I remember why. Because this battles were yesterday. My memory is not always perfect, but in hindsight, Machamp is the better play here because the Swampert's going to get to a charge move being a Earthquake. And I thought it was going to end up being a Hydro Cannon. But the reason why it would have been better for our Machamp to face Swampert there is Machamp can tank damage a little bit better. It's a little bit bulkier than Surfetch. Whereas like one Hydro Cannon, especially that Brave Bird, would have one-shot us and we would have lost the match if we did things in the opposite order. So GG's, we had a Scizor there, able to Brave Bird it with our Surfetch and win the match pretty comfortably. We lose lead in this next one with Walrein against Samurott. Not a super ideal lead because they could spam Mega Horns where we're dealing a bunch of resistant damage until we get to Earthquake. So the safe swap on this team is Surfetch. The goal here is essentially land the Brave Bird, but we know opponents are expecting that, and usually they'll shield. So we threw a Leaf Blade there, hoping we get the shield, knowing we get to another move anyway, but they decided not to shield either of these. So Leaf Blade and the Brave Bird, the Leaf Blurred, say that 10 times fast, ends up taking out the Nidoqueen. Samurott comes back in. Fury cuts us all the way down, even though it's resisted, takes us out fast because of our debuff, and then we come back in with the Machamp. Now we flip switch. We do want to be careful. We know we can survive a Hydro Cannon, which is going to be huge here, but we don't quite want to tank it yet. Depending on whatever their last Mon is, we don't know if we're going to need Machamp to take care of the entire back line. We throw a cross shot, we get the opponent's last shield, or their first shield, by them committing a shield there. Now we know we want to essentially commit to our Machamp, so we're going to shield up both Hydro Cannons in hope that we will either take them out with this cross chop and face their last Mon, or get their last remaining shield. We get their last remaining shield there, tried to swap, click the Walrein if you noticed that, but I got stuck in the middle of the counter, which was not ideal, and then we're going to still swap into our own Walrein, and now this match is essentially GG because of the timing. The Samurott was so low, we were hoping we could at least farm down the Samurott, which is with our Walrein, which is why we swapped. This is GG because I win CMP here, and they don't win CMP, which means I'm going to get off both of my Earthquakes before they get off both of theirs, because of the fact that we both swapped the exact same time. We were at the same turn while facing off against each other. That was a great visual representation of what I was trying to say there. Getting to the next match, another fantastic lead. That's also the huge thing about running this team comp and running Walrein with double fighters, is that Walrein was winning a bunch of leads, whether it be flyers or it be Trevenant, things along those lines. Obviously, this team is ABB weak to charm, and Walrein's not exactly a charm answer, but Walrein plays against charm types quite well, performs good enough against them, or at least charm types, fairy types with charm. I guess you could call them charm types, but as you saw in the previous 2 matches, we faced fairy types that were not running charm, and Walrein did quite fine, and we ended up winning those matches regardless. Our opponent decides to bait us and then throw an earthquake. We decide to commit to the farm down because of that, because we need to make up for that energy that we lost out on and that extra shield we had to give up. So we go back-to-back rock slides, boom, Dragonite's dead, one-shot it, shadow on shadow damage, super effective rock slides on top of the fact that, you know, Dragonite's glassy as heck regardless, and then they come in with the Trevenant, we threw another rock slide there, they let it come through, they have that shield, they were saving it for the Walrein's energy, and then they realized they're just going to get fast moved down, and I still have a full mod on the back. That is GG's for that match. Getting into the next one, we have another positive lead because of Walrein dealing double super effective damage to Gliscor being the ground flying type that it is. They save swap into Walrein, we match with a super hard counter, that being our Shadow Machamp. Oh, that reminds me, I did not put the Shadow next to the Shadow Machamp on my screen. I apologize for the mistake there. Boom, there it is. So we still have a very positive situation here. They decide to commit a shield, so we're going to commit a shield. We're only going to match their shields because we know we have the advantage and we know where their energy's at, so we're able to even counter down even after just matching even shields and keeping alignment. We're then going to throw a rock slide, which is going to be neutral because of Gliscor, even though it's a flying, has that ground typing, but still does a solid chunk of the Gliscor's remaining health, and that shit damage is still going to prove useful. They then swap into a Surf Fetch, and we've essentially RPS our opponent, got the amazing alignment, and this is the type of alignment that I'm seeing a bunch in Ultra Premier. That's why this team works so well. There's a lot of Nidoqueen double dark. There's a lot of teams that are running double dark or double weak to fighting in the back. So running double fighter, running double counter is literally just getting ahead of the meta. Highly recommend you use this team ASAP before the meta decides to adjust, because that is how Go Battle League works. And that's why I had so much success with this team, on top of the fact that it's just so attack heavy and so oppressive. Such heavy damage is being dealt by literally every mon on this comp. So we lost lead, and then we lost switch here, which is unfortunate. The question is, are we going to be able to overcome? The other frustrating thing now about this Dragonite matchup against Walrein is that Dragonite has access to superpower, so we're not able to just comfortably powder snow all the way down without having to not give up the shield. We had no choice. The Escavalier is going to get to a charge move, should only be a draw run, ends up being a draw run. We're going to go for the EQ. This is not going to take out the Escavalier's remaining health, but we still want to try to get some sort of chip damage or get that last shield on the Escav, which is what we do. We're then able to counter down their Escav, or almost counter down their Escav. They swapped out on the last one that would have went through, but unfortunately they matched us with another hard counter. So they're essentially RPSing us here, but what I want you to take a note of is if I decide to bait with a cross chop, I would have gotten to another cross chop's worth of damage before my opponent was able to take me out, which then meant that my Walrein would have taken less damage here. We throw the Icicle Spear, and we might have had a little bit more health to survive the counters from the Escav to potentially powder snow down. Could have been a tie, could have been a match that I won if I just decided to bait instead of going straight big move. So just a little mental note that I didn't lose that. Even though we got rock, paper, scissored and lost alignment in every single scenario, the team almost played its way out. Now, getting to this next matchup, our opponent save swaps into Jellicent. Jellicent's one of the toughest matchups for this team comp. What you have to do is bring in Surf Fetch, which I didn't realize right away, which is why I Earthquaked, because Surf Fetch has access to Leaf Blade, and Leaf Blade will do a good chunk of the Jellicent's remaining health, aka the rest of its remaining health. So we're essentially able to keep alignment because of that. They come back in with their Nidoqueen. They're going to Poison Fang us instead of letting us get off a charge move, and we still have alignment. We're going to wait out the switch clock because we swapped late. We don't want their Nidoqueen to be able to run away from us too comfortably. The Nidoqueen stays in. We're getting to the charge move here. We're going to throw an Icicle Spear. One thing you have to be worried about with Nidoqueens in Ultra Premier is there's some sneaky little things, well, they're really not that little, some sneaky big things. They'll be running Stone Edge instead of Earth Power, and they will catch your Fire Flying Talonflames and your Walreins lacking because of it. We don't end up shielding this next move though because of the fact that we know it's only enough energy for a Poison Fang, and thankfully this Nidoqueen did not seem to be running Stone Edge, so we're able to take it out and keep alignment. And in this even shielding scenario where the Shift Tree only has one small advantage on us because we have to swap in, we're going to win this match. We can essentially counter them down. They're going to throw a Leaf Blade, but it's not going to do enough damage, and we have the shield to be safe regardless. So GG's to our opponent there. But yes, please be careful. Not every Nidoqueen is running Earth Power. Make that mental note when running this team, especially if you have your Walrein lined up with a Nidoqueen. Getting to this next matchup, we have a Walrein on a Swampert lead. So like I said, this team really got ahead of the meta as Ultra Premier first dropped. A lot of people were leading teams that were super weak to Walrein in the lead, and then they were running teams with their backlines super weak to double fighting. So again, I cannot stress it enough. You really want to take advantage while the meta is the way that it is. So getting into this next matchup, our opponent baited. We called their bait, which was huge. We shield here because it's enough for an earthquake. Unfortunately, we get baited there, but because we got one of their shields already, we don't really mind getting baited in this scenario. We throw an icicle spear there, and we're going for our next icicle spear ASAP because we do not want them to get to an earthquake to potentially force our last shield before we could potentially force theirs. Because we got both their shields and their Swampert super low, and we have our shield left, we're gonna actually let our Walrein go down, but they decide to not even throw an earthquake. And when we save swap and surf fetch, they decide to knock it off a hydro cannon. So one shield surf fetch gets a no shield team. Boom! Was there a Shadow Drapion on my screen? Because I'm pretty sure it's gone. Then they come in with the Steelix. Oh my god, you have no idea how exciting it would have been if I was running double nukes on this Surf Fetch instead of Leaf Blade and Brave Bird. Because Leaf Blade will take this Steelix out and win us this match. But imagine back-to-back booms of the Drapion and the Steelix with Brave Bird and this close combat. Either way, Surf Fetch and his big leak popped off on the opponent's team and literally 1v3'd it. Getting to the next matchup, we have a Walrein against a Dragonite lead here. They then swap immediately into their Galarian Stunfisk, and we are going to match that Galarian Stunfisk swap with our Shadow Machamp for some heavy, super effective damage. Now, because we know that our Cross Chop landed, we can actually let this charge move come through, but because we expect it to be an Earthquake, we decided not to. There's a future match where I let it come through, and now I'm salty that I shielded a Rock Slide. The opponent only gets off 2 moves here. We are able to counter down. The one positive about that, though, is we did preserve health. Even with the Rock Slide landing, it's not much, and the reason why I convinced myself not to shield is because at the very least, the shield that I gave up, I will be able to get back when I throw that Rock Slide at the Dragonite, because if they did not decide to give us that shield back, they were going to get one-shotted like we saw earlier. The problem here is, though, because my Machamp had so much health on it, so the Dragonite is at a charge move, and it was superpower, which we have to shield and respect. They then swap in their Trevenant, and we have to stay in this matchup because the Trevenant has a shield. Plus, if the Trevenant has energy advantage, they're going to outpace our Surfetch to the Brave Bird. Regardless, though, we're playing the 0-1 shield scenario against a Trev with a little bit of energy on our own hands, so we're able to get off both Icicle Spears here. This does not take out. We swap in the Surf Fetch so that the Trev can't get any farm or anything along those lines. Plus, we need a little bit of extra farm on our Surf Fetch because Walrein's practically dead and not going to be able to take out the Dragonite. We go for the Leaf Blade. Double resisted, does not take out, but we almost are able to counter all the way down. They're at 1 HP. Even if this takes us out, this is still GG. We just barely hang on, and Surf Fetched, boom, counters it down. Surf Fetch countering flyers. 1v3 opponents' teams. Surfetch absolutely popping off. Such an underrated mon in Ultra Premier, and just such an underrated mon in general. Another positive lead here. Look, I swear, I know this looks like Al Gore, which is on my side for a couple sets, but it's what you do when you prepare for a meta and you plan ahead. You can pick a team, recognize what a lot of people are going to be running, and prepare for that. And then you're sitting in the driver's seat when you're getting all these positive alignments like I'm currently getting in this collection of battles. It's happening match after match after match. It's not a coincidence. Going for a cross shop here because Machamp's about to die. We don't mind. This is actually the better way to play out that Stunfisk Machamp situation because Dragonite gets less farm, and because the Dragonite gets less farm, they can't superpower Walrein comfortably. They then come in with their Escav, and we have our Surfetch to counter it. We're sitting in a good spot. We know the counts to Drill Run on Escav are going to be 7 counters, and then the second time around is going to be on 6 counters. So we throw the Leaf Blade here, hoping they think we're running Night Slash so we can hopefully get one of their shields. We do get one of their shields, even though visually it does not show up. And because we do get that, I think we commit to a counter down, and we just hope that the energy we have, we're able to put to good use against a Dragonite, and that is exactly what happens. Our Surfetch has a little bit of HP left, really hoping a Dragon Breath didn't sneak through to take us out. Thankfully, it did not. We get off the Brave Bird, which is huge, and because the Dragonite barely got any farm earlier, nowhere near superpower for our Walrein to be worried. Icicle Spear, boom, Dragonite, gone. Double super effective damage. Beautiful. And that is a collection of battles. That was the final match of the literal like 10 battles I just showed you here. I wanted to show you as many as I possibly could. This got me all the way up to the 3200 ELO. I highly recommend the team. On that note, let me know your thoughts of the team, the battles, and anything along those lines. Thank you so much for watching. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Preach!